Okay, welcome back to the channel, lads and ladies, and I have both girls with me right now, so that means I'll have to do this kind of quick, but I wanted to show you something. Let's see if I can get the video here. So I think this one will do a clicky. So I've been experiencing a lot of popping in the ground textures as well as, that's not going to work. In the ground textures as well as the vehicles where I'll be flying. As you see here, look at those ground textures popping in, popping in, popping in, popping in, and still popping. You see, even relatively close range. So I figured this was a what's it called? A dynamic rendering issue where textures go from low poly to high poly. You can see popping there, ground targets popping there, and not only is this distracting, but it can make it very difficult to get on target, and it's just something that I've been living with, and I found out that I don't need to. So big thanks to not the guys who read Reddit for me, Je suis M41. Once again, the Bull Doge comes to my rescue. You can pause and read this for yourself. This is the answer to my issue. It definitely fixed the issue, and I don't see a significant impact on performance. In fact, if anything else, bye-bye, baby. If anything, it actually improves the consistency of performance because textures aren't constantly switching from low poly to high poly. So I highly recommend you read this article and apply these settings for yourself. It's in the config file you'll find in your War Thunder install location, and you can just Google to find out how to find this file. Well, I'll just tell you. Search your computer for aces.exe, and it'll be in that area. Again, config, you can open it with Notepad. You can see I've set the settings as it describes in there. I won't go any more into detail. And if we look at a recent replay, then here I am being dead. But let's take a look at some ground strike. Zooming in, zooming in, zooming. Okay, now let's look at the ground. Where's the popping? Not nearly as bad. There is some of it, so you know, that's the world we live in. But the textures are looking a lot nicer. Things are loading in. It's a lot easier to spot enemy vehicles. You see, I can still see these vehicles. They would be just snapping and popping all over the place. Rubber banding, switching from 3D to 2D, where they appear as a dark smudge on the ground. And here, because we've increased that render distance, that issue is fixed. So, why is this an issue with War Thunder? Well, the answer is simple. The in-game slider for render distance doesn't allow you to set the render distance as far as you can see here, I would prefer. Especially when you're in something like the Narwhal, where you will be searching for targets at around 1 to 2 kilometers away from you. You see that we're at a kilometer altitude when we begin our attack run. If targets are, you know, half a kilometer of lateral distance from us, well, that's almost 1.5 kilometers that they need to be rendered at, and the render distance was closer to 600 to 800 meters, which is just abysmal for things popping between low and high poly. So if you've been experiencing textures popping at medium to long ranges and constantly popping back and forth, and I have another video where the shoreline is just teleporting back and forth because of how it switches from low res to high res, and you can see they're still popping in the game. The rendering in this game is not the most efficient or the most consistent. That is one thing I'd like to see addressed, is the graphical culling optimization kind of stuff. But anyway, hopefully this fixes your issue if you're having the same problem, and I'm really excited about this because it's an issue that I've been dealing with for ages. You can hear Tank Toddler wailing on some little glass beads in the background, so it sounds like it's time for me to go back to daddying. I just wanted to make this video really quickly for you because I'm so excited about how I fixed this issue. Anyway, I hope you guys are enjoying your day, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye-bye.